ability to be great. You have to be willing to activate the great from within. It starts with you, and it starts right now. What's up, world? You getting down with Tyler Davis in the house?
Greg Thomas, how you doing, man?
Yeah, baby. Just here, trying to make it do what it do for another Monday morning for all our friendly viewers out there. Actually, listeners, hopefully viewers. You're checking that ish out on YouTube. Get down, all the action. Like it, love it, subscribe.
Yeah, man, share, put it out there, man. You never know when it might hit somebody that just needs it that day.
Well, we talked about that before too. Like sometimes there's things that we come across and, that message felt like it was really geared towards you, and really what it was just geared towards that moment, and that was your takeaway from it. So if you see something like this and you think there might be some benefit to the people out there in your world, share it, and they'll love it too. Because you thought of them. This is what this information's about. It's about lifting people up. Right?
100%. And there's too many times that we've ran into coincidences, you might call it, to where, a message will come at you from multiple angles with all the same core message behind it.
And how you feel, right? You're vibrating the same.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're like, whoa.
Yeah, like how many people you'll hear say they go to church and it's almost like the message was for them.
Sure. Like, or parts of it or something that spoke to them, and that message was just for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Sometimes there's messages for you. For all of us out there, sometimes it's just a you thing, and that's okay.
It is.
Right? I think we forget that, like, sometimes it can be just about you.
Yeah, and a lot of times that gets glazed over.
And for a lot of reasons, right?
It does.
There's, cultural things, family things, like just the way dynamics were growing up within peer groups and family groups and professional groups. And, there's things that have changed. We're evolving. Right? We're beings that evolve. That's what we do. We change incrementally. But, today we really want this to be about you.
It's about you.
About you today. It's really about you every day. It's just, you just don't really hang out in that space too often. But today we're going to show you 3 reasons to do it, right? 3 reasons to put you at the center of you.
Right. Right there in the center. Because everywhere you go, guess what? There you are.
There you are.
In reality, though, how many times are we actually not there? Like physically we're there, but mentally we're not.
Whether you benefit from it or not, you don't have you at the forefront of that.
Right.
That benefit, the forefront of that benefit. You're doing it for other people, or I'm going to dedicate my mind, my presence. I'm going to give it to something else.
Or especially, I think we fall into the trap as parents. Like, we live for others. So we put ourselves on the shelf and sideline what is really important for us. But in doing that, we fail to realize we can't be the best versions of us if we don't also think about and care about ourselves.
Well, that's the thing. And what you're really showing, those people that are watching, you're showing them how to do the same thing.
Exactly.
You're like, hey, this is okay to make it about you this time.
Right. And I think something that you've mentioned before, that I think as a society we need to make sure we're talking about mental health and things like that, and a big part is self-care.
Oh, man.
And that's what this is about. I mean, you have to take care of you.
I think where people get stopped, or part of the reason they get stopped, is because they're trying to move a mountain in a day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not, if you view it like it's David versus Goliath,
right,
you're going to be stuck where you're at.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that too. But today, 3 reasons to put you at the center of you. Number 1, making changes for other people is just another way to sidestep real change.
Yes.
Okay? You're not making it about you. And I used to say some things, and now in hindsight, I would say, if you're not going to do it for you, do it for them. And then that was bad advice. I'm well-intentioned, just like a lot of water cooler talk.
Yes.
Well-intentioned, but now that I've, take a deeper dive into things and start reading more and educating myself more on some things, especially when it comes to habits, atomic, if you will. We're on that book still. It's so great. I keep listening to the chapters over and over again. But it does talk about, you have to be at the epicenter of this change, whatever it may be. And if you're doing it for other people, you're going to have a short run.
And it's not really going to hit you. You're not going to fall in love with the process when you're doing it from a point of seeking someone else's validation.
Well, and really, you're not even allowing yourself to love you.
Right.
You're like, well, I'm going to do it for my kids, or I'm going to do it for this, or I'm going to do it for that. Like, hey, when's the last time you did something for yourself that made you feel good about yourself?
Amen.
Let that land.
Yeah.
I can't tell you, where you made it a focal point, okay? And there is, you can come up with I'm all about my kids first. Yeah, look, no one's saying that. You're not gonna let your kids go without, but you can, you can scratch both itches is what I'm getting at, okay? You can do it. That's just a fugazi. It's a mirage. It's a mind movie that isn't real. It's fiction.
Right. And don't do it and then also be regretful afterwards. you know, because that misses the whole point.
Oh, absolutely.
You and I have had conversations before where I've talked about, you know, in some of my changes, like if you're going to do something but then have the aftertaste of regret, why? Don't even do it, man.
Well, see, and that's the mind with like all the mind tricks and things that we've been conditioned to do. You know what I mean? Like, you know, for dopamine, right? We talked about world's largest dope dealer, credit card companies, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know, same thing for food. Food has food science. There's all these things that go into it, and like it's the anticipation of it that releases that dopamine, and then you're like, oh,
right,
yeah,
Same.
you know, but like, or this, maybe you're anticipating what this impact's going to be, this thing that you're doing for somebody else, versus allowing that same splash to happen when you do something for yourself.
Right. Yeah, man. So much power to that. I mean, for me, that was what happened with the falling in love with the fitness side of things, because I realized that was me doing that for me. Yeah. Other people benefited as a wonderful side effect, as a byproduct, but I wasn't doing it for them. Initially, they may have been the spark that got me going, like my kids, my wife. But in the end, what I realized was I'm doing this for me.
And that's okay.
And that is okay. It's not selfish.
No.
It's like it makes me a better me for them.
I would even venture to say that when you do it for you, and the systemic impact that your kids receive is greater than if you made it just about them.
Agreed. Because it's teaching them a better example as far as not only being physically active, but taking care of myself.
Oh, and seeing like, hey, Dad, how do I feel good about myself the way you feel good about yourself? Because you can't just go and turn that light bulb on for your children like you think you can. You need to show them how to, you know, energize themselves to go flip the switch for themselves.
For sure.
And show them the roadmap through actions, not just talking about it.
Oh, man.
Okay?
Kids do what they see, not what they're told.
People think that, oh, I'm going to do this for other people, do this, and be this constant martyr. You know, I'm here to say that if you make it about you, the greater gain will be had by everyone that's around you.
For sure.
And at the end of the day, when's the last time you did something for yourself?
Yeah.
And felt good about it.
Right.
Okay?
Without the aftertaste of guilt.
Yeah. You're not talking about like a bad financial decision. Oh, I went out and bought a car. You know what I mean? And that new payment hasn't worn off yet. You know what I mean? I'm not sick of this thing
not
yet.
what we're talking
Not talking about that. I'm talking about doing something that really helps you move the needle for you. And again, remember, you know, when you're doing it for other people, you're just sidestepping real change. And it's just a matter of time before you go back to what you were doing before.
Yep.
So make changes for you, not other people. Number 2, shake the guilt, man.
Shake it off. Taylor Swift.
Come on.
Just shake it off.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. Just put it on the shelf. You know, it's okay to do things for yourself.
It is. And you've said it many times, like whether you have to get out and make a hash mark every time you catch yourself doing it, you're going to do it at first.
Yeah.
You're going to do something for yourself and you're going to feel guilty. Don't do it.
Acknowledge it.
Stop yourself.
That's the first thing you can
recognize,
do.
like, oh, there it is.
Make it
there
real.
There it is.
Make it real. Like, hey, look, I'm going to pay attention to all the times, like you just said, that I had an opportunity to do something for me.
Right.
You know?
Because ask yourself the question of why. Why should you feel guilty for that? For taking a little time for
going
yourself?
To the gym? For like reading a book? For going to a conference?
Right.
For getting a massage that's highly therapeutic?
Right.
I mean, when do we not, you know, at some point it's a slippery slope that cascades, and next thing you know, you have this mounting, you know, amount of injuries that you've let go, okay?
Yeah.
You know, physical things that you're just not willing to, you know, address, maybe dietary issues that you're not willing to address, all these things that just keep going, but you're like, well, I live for other people.
Right. No, man, you hit it. You hit something on the head for me personally. I just recently got my first massage that I've ever had in my whole life. 41 years old.
Yeah.
As hard as I work, like, that was foolish of me not to.
Oh, man.
It's like, it's exactly what we're talking about. I was actually doing myself more harm because I was being stubborn and being hard on myself.
Exactly.
Like, do it for yourself.
Do it
because it's a good thing.
It's a good thing. And there again, like, how many times can we say throughout the day that you did something good for yourself?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Or did you just, you know, make a concession for someone else?
Yeah.
Massive difference. Doing something good for yourself versus making a concession for someone else.
Right, because you're never going to really enjoy it if that's why you're doing it.
And you're just not going to find happiness, period. You know what I mean? You're just kicking the can down the road. You're never going to feel as good as you can feel.
Yep.
You're never going to look as good as you can look and feel. Really, just at the end of the day, be at peace with the space between your ears.
Yeah, man.
You got to do that for you. You got to taking control of your mind is something you can do for you. And this is just your body and your mind for that matter, and not feel a damn bit guilty about it. Yeah. You know, think about all the sacrifices we make. Like, I think about like all the sacrifices I made for work. right? And I put everything else on the back burner. Guess what? You get one body.
Yep.
Okay, you can put your health on the forefront. It can be on the front burner. Okay,
and it has to be.
Oh.
I mean, it's one of those things. You either are proactive and make time up front, or you're going to be forced to make time afterwards. Whether that's dealing with an illness or something like that, or injury, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to.
If you're feeling guilty about doing these things, you need to really ask yourself why you do not deserve these things, because your actions are falling in line as if you're not deserving to have this.
Right.
You're not worthy of this accolade or this effort.
Dude, like that was a realization I had the other day when I finally got the massage. It was like, why am I punishing myself?
Correct.
It's like, man, I do deserve it. Why have I been telling myself all this time I don't?
And here's something else, folks. When you wake up to some of these truths and you really want to believe it and you're really all in on it, you never go back to sleep. You're not going to go back into a coma. You're just going to know a little bit more every day how much more true that is. Every day it gets more and more true.
Right.
Okay?
Which is why we do these things. I mean, we gain this with experience, with age, maturity, all those different things, but that's why we put it out there and share it, because everybody can have that aha moment at some point.
Think of a time, an opportunity to start loving on yourself, right? Without the guilt.
Yeah.
What are you doing to love on yourself, to give yourself the greatest good that you can experience out of your life? And even like not even looking at it like the whole life, breaking it down to, what did I do for myself this morning? What did I do for myself this afternoon to help me move the needle, which in turn takes care of my family, takes care of my professional friends and my close friends, and everybody that's around you benefits from you loving on you.
Right. And including you, your mental health, your self-esteem, your character, the way you carry yourself, all of it benefits from it.
What's the alternative? Well, you just keep doing what you're doing, being a bump on the log. Maybe your time will come a little earlier than it should have, when it comes to meeting your maker. And maybe you didn't get a chance to be as active with your kids as you wanted to be. Maybe there's all these things that you wish you could have done, this whole wish list of stuff that just keeps getting larger and larger and larger because you haven't changed the way you value yourself.
Yeah, so start today.
That's all it takes, man. It
can happen like that.
Yes. Okay, like just one conversation, one realization, one bit of information and knowledge you didn't have, just to nudge you another direction. You know what I mean?
That's all it is, man.
That's it. That's a perfect segue into the last one.
Yep.
So we're going to shake that guilt, start doing things for ourselves, because guess what? It's going to promote, number 3, promote long-lasting and incremental improvement.
Yes.
Incremental, is the big double line, bold it, put it in italics, whatever you got to do. Incremental.
That's how it's supposed to be. It changes over time. It compounds on itself. I mean, how many times have we heard the saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
For sure.
Because if you look at it and you think I got to take that whole mountain down in one step, man, you ain't even going to start.
Oh, dude, it's like, man, the old 96er, baby.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's not done. You know what I mean? But, there'll be times where you feel like you're done, but you're not done. That's your mind playing tricks on you.
It is.
Okay? You still got, 60% left in the tank, but your body is going Paleolithic on you, okay, and telling you need to shut down and save some reserves. Well, we do that. We lean into that.
Oh, for sure.
Big time.
Yeah. It becomes a habit.
Oh, no doubt about it.
I mean, man, there's been times in class, for example, we'll have a 3.5-minute song that's all planks. Like, I make a decision before it even starts. I will not come down out of this plank.
That's exactly right.
Will it hurt? Yes. But why am I going to do it? For me.
Oh, yeah.
Because I promised myself I would. So I'll do it, and then at the end, guess what? I'm proud of me.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter what happened to the person next to me. The crazy thing is, I've inspired other people to do the same thing.
Well, that's, dude, yeah.
But that's how this works. When you take care of yourself, you have this light that starts to shine and this energy that starts to glow on everybody else around you. And that's why it ain't selfish, man. You're actually helping other people by helping yourself.
Yes, you're showing other people how to do it. You're leading by example. We said this many times. Choose your heart. What do you want it to be? Dude. We're going to have a fight, okay? Every day you're going to wake up and you're going to have a fight, okay? It's what vantage point do you want to view this, these occurrences day in and day out from? Do you want to come in remember that you are a fighter?
Yeah.
That you, hey, like nothing's going to hold you down,
Yeah.
and you're going to finally do something for yourself.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, look, I know that I can't see the top of the stairs here, but I'm just going to focus on the one in front of me.
Yeah. I didn't succeed because everything went right. I succeeded because I knew how to fight.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Because I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to
Yeah.
keep fighting.
Well, dude,
but you
like-
do it for you.
Oh, dude, like right now, like working out for me, getting back into the groove, okay? I'm fighting through being out of shape.
It's just
But
a
then,
fact.
but then there was a couple glimpses, like,
Right.
there's some of that strength still in there.
Yes,
some
it
of those
is.
reps are still in there, and that stuff's coming back to life.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get into just the incremental, the 1 to 3% improvement mindset, you are setting yourself up for success. We're sitting here talking about tracking little wins.
That's what you
That's
chase
what
down.
This isn't about. This is what it's about. It's incremental improvement. But if you don't make it about you,
Yeah.
you won't strive. That won't be good enough.
Yeah, man.
It'll never be good enough. If you're not doing it for you, incremental improvement won't even stand out, man.
Get excited about that
Oh,
incremental.
dude.
That's what fuels the fire.
If you're doing it for you.
Right.
If you're doing it for other things or for other people,
Right.
you're not even gonna see it.
Right.
There's not even gonna be a spark. Be like, oh, hey, did you know, it's like missing like a shooting star.
Right.
Once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, because nobody's going to notice you, or there's a good chance they won't because they're worried about what's going on with them.
Oh.
You just worry about you.
Well, and I think just circling back, make it about you.
Right.
We're begging you, make it about you.
Yeah, man.
You know, it's okay to make it about you. You be at the center of you. And like, for the first time in your life, you might just be realizing this, like I have recently too. It's like, this needs to be a focal point. I need to make it about me.
Yeah.
Okay, you can make your fitness about you. You can make your health about you. You can make your profession about you. You can make your relationships at home about you.
Yeah.
You know, and guess what? You might end up being something pretty fantastic.
Oh, man.
Okay, and it might be inspiring, and it might be exactly what your kids need to see, or your coworkers need to see, or what you need to see in yourself.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Recently, a statement that came to light for me was, I only want to be famous in my own home.
Yeah.
Let that hit. Make it about you.
Yeah.
Focus
Why not?
on you.
You-
Focus on you.
Man, and focus on yours. You know, you think about how many sacrifices you make for the outside world, and the sacrifices that in the concessions, it's not the same, okay? You're making concessions, not sacrifices. And you need to understand the difference between those two things, okay? Making concessions for your family to do other things, to go the extra mile outside of the house, it doesn't have the same effect as within those walls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you know, we're talking about doing this for you, and everybody around you gets a systemic impact from your like shift, your paradigm shift, your focus from being the moth and becoming the light. Be your own light.
Yeah, man.
So again, 3 reasons to put you at the center of you. Number 1, making changes for other people is just another way to sidestep real change. You're going to go for a little bit and then you're going to stop.
Yep.
Number 2, you got to shake the guilt. You got to know it is okay to do things for yourself. Put yourself at the epicenter of everything and watch what happens.
Necessary.
It's crazy. It's good stuff. Lastly, it promotes long-lasting and incremental improvement. And when you make it about you, you're paying attention to all the microscopic little details, the wins, the things, that's the little thing that got a little easier, the thing that got a little harder, and you end up falling in love with it because you're falling in love with yourself.
Yep.
Make it happen. Make a commitment to you this week, and we'll catch you next time. Want to take a quick minute to thank our sponsor, ccmindiana.com, for all your mortgage needs. Very competitive, ready to rock, ready to help you be a pre-approved buyer that can compete. Ready to get pre-approved for your next mortgage? Stop by ccmindiana.com and see how we can help.